Hey everybody, welcome to How the Sausage is Made with Chris Cosentino, where I talk with chefs, restaurateurs, athletes, philanthropists, and pretty much anybody that inspires me. We look below the surface, behind the curtain, and dig deep into how these people got to where they are today. Wins, losses, and everything in between. So, Beau, what is your thought, like this perception versus reality of social media in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like when it first started, it was kind of great because, 20 years ago, you couldn't have paid the amount of money to get,
Yeah,
social media is basically advertising. It's advertising for the restaurant.
100%.
Right. And it's like people signing up to look at your ads and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything but your time unless you're paying like a social media person or whatever. Um, But then it is kinda just, like, morphed into this other thing now where it's, like, becoming competitive and you gotta try and, like, play the algorithm to stay, up on top of things, and then you don't really wanna do it anymore, but it's kinda got your business by the short hairs there where it's like, if you don't use it, you're screwed.
Yeah,
I don't know, and then there's this whole wave of, like, TikTok chefs that I'm like, "What's the next step there?" I don't understand, you know?
yeah.
What do you do out.
It's an interesting dilemma, right? What has been your worst professional mistake?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, there's just been a lot of them. There's been a lot of, like, poor business decisions, poor leadership decisions, just my whole drug and alcohol abuse, I mean, that's probably the biggest one, doing drugs and drinking instead of focusing on my career, but, yeah, I don't know, man. If I had to it's just I gotta say there's just too many. It's been a series of missteps that have landed me here somehow, I really wanna say.
Fair. So, do you have any regrets, and what would you change if you could change them?
Um Like, from a business standpoint, just purely a business, I wish I had just kept it at just my cafe. Just the one business and built it up, maximized out the money it was making, and then, not work 80 hours a week. That would have been that's my biggest the one that I think about all the time. And now it's gotten to the point where the company has kinda gotten so big that it's like grow or die. If I don't create more opportunities for my staff, then they need to leave because like I was telling you yesterday that a bunch of my crew has been with me 10, 12 years, like a long time. Uh, and so if I don't create more opportunities and room for them to grow, then they get kind of stuck. Like, you're going to be a sous chef forever. Like, what are you going to do? I need to create more and expand so that they have opportunities to stay with me. But yeah, I think business wise, I regret expanding. And now I'm kind of stuck in this expand or die kind of situation or sell it. I don't know.
You know, I have a whole slew of different questions, but I think there's something that you and I have been kind of talking about and skirting around quite a bit. And I think I think we should talk about the conversation, the elephant in the room, right? The alcohol the um and the addiction. We'll just call it an addiction
Right.
issue,
Yeah.
right? I think that's because it ultimately out whether it's alcohol or drug, it's a disease, it's an addiction issue,
Right.
right? And I think unfortunately, one, people don't address it as such, right? They think it's an automatic choice. And it is a disease. It is an addiction.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sober 8 years. We've talked about that. And you had talked earlier that you got sober when you were 25. Um, do you care to talk more about that and what your thoughts
Yeah.
are with our industry and how our industry is kind of I mean, it's a catch-22, right? It's a part of the hospitality world where there's alcohol, and it is part of a holiday celebration, whatever, it's a ritual, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, how do you, deal with that now? And do you wanna talk kind of about your process and where you got to today? if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, things have gone on I mean, it's been 15 years now since I drank, almost 16. So I don't have as much of the allure isn't there at all. I don't really struggle anymore. I'll even like if we get new wines in or a rep comes in or like new beer, something like that, I'll even taste it, which is my own way of asserting that I have control. I mean, I won't
Wow.
have a whole glass of wine, but like if a wine guy comes in, he's like, "Hey, we have these new wines to try." I'll take a taste from each one, but if I feel my face go flush, I stop. That's kind of my okay. And it doesn't take much. I mean, I haven't drank in 15 years. It's 4 or 5 sips and it's like, "Okay, I got to stop." But that kind
That
of
says a
became
lot about you. That says a lot about you and your ability to control and understand your your situation.
that was I mean, it took a few years to get there. But that kind of became a thing. I know people that are like, don't even hold a beer in front of me if we're posing for a picture. They just get like, I can't even be in the room with it. And I feel like if I was like that, that would mean that I'm completely powerless. And so it became this thing where it's like, I'm going to be around it. I'm not going to fully partake, but I'm going to be in control. And that's my sense of control is being able to try something and be like, oh, this is a really nice wine. I could see this going with a steak or something like that. But I'm not going to be sitting there having a glass with a steak myself. It's just not, I know the end result if I go too far. Um, Getting there though, I mean, I had a pretty big drug problem for a while, but alcohol has always been the main one. It started with alcohol. It was 12 years old and you're like sneaking beers out of the garage at your cousin's house or whatever. Like so it started with alcohol and that's kind of been the running theme. Like even when I was heavily into drugs, sometimes it was just like the alcohol came first or just they went hand in hand. So it's always been alcohol. And when I finally decided to quit, it was kind of like having this moment, they got that whole moment of clarity thing. Like I had just really gone off the rails. Towards the end there, I was doing this thing where I was like going on a really hardcore 3-day bender, and then I would stop drinking for like 4 days and pretend everything was fine, and then go on another huge bender and then try and come off of it again. And so finally I had a really bad one and realized I was gonna lose everything. Just the whole like I said yesterday, it's not gonna make me a better cook, not gonna make me a better chef, not gonna make me a better friend. There's no better that it makes me. Nothing, there's no positive thing for me. So I decided to quit. I basically locked myself in my apartment for 2 weeks. Didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. And then after that, it was just, pure stubbornness. I'm a really stubborn person, and I can use it to my advantage or more often than not to my disadvantage when I really dig my heels in. But if I wanna turn it on, I can, and that was one of those instances where I just kinda put my foot down and was like, "I'm not gonna drink again." Um, and kinda once I hit, like, maybe 3 weeks, a month like that, I started feeling really good. And that kind of encouraged me some more to, like, keep it up. I was like, "Wow, I'm not throwing up blood, fucking walking around with my hood on in shame every time I walk around downtown because I didn't know what I did the night before." It just started to feel good, and then, a couple months later, then my daughter was born, and it was just kind of a no-brainer. It was her or the booze, and so stuck with it.
It's a lot. It's a lot to it's a lot to take on, and stubbornness can win. And it, like you said, it's like you dug your heels in for the right reason.
There's this book, The Tao of Sobriety, right? Kinda, like,
Okay.
blends this, like, Taoism and recovery in one. And they got this mental practice in there where there's all these voices in your head to tell you to drink, right? "Just 1 drink, it's okay, you need to drink, just one to take the edge off, it's alright, you deserve it." All this kinda stuff is always playing in your head. Um, but then there's the real you inside that doesn't wanna drink anymore, and you kinda gotta picture that person as like whatever your frame of reference is as a leader, whether it's a president or a king or queen or football coach, like whatever you got to do, but you visualize this inner you standing up and speaking to these masses and being like, no, we're not going to do that. That's not good for us. Right. Because really, these voices that are telling you to drink, they think they have your best interest, right? It's still you. And it's just like they're speaking up and saying, like, oh, you need to drink to feel normal. And you just got to convince these other voices that are telling you these urges or whatever that that's not the right way. This is the new way we're doing things. And that kind of mental, I don't know what you would call that, mental activity or whatever, but just that kind of routine in my head where I had to coach the other side of myself that we're not doing this anymore. Like that was the big thing that really kind of helped me. And that's the one that anytime I talk to people that are trying to quit and they're struggling, I'm like, you just got to try and picture yourself as the leader here and instruct the rest of you that like drugs is not the answer, alcohol is not the answer, that kind of thing.
I think that's a great suggestion for people who may need a book or a thought process on how to get there. That's a really great way of thinking about it. I mean, your brain is giving you the exercise. It's
Yeah,
fighting you, but you're with that book gave you the tools for your brain to fight itself. It's like good versus evil. It's like the two, one on each shoulder,
100%.
one saying one and the other. And I think that's a great, that's a perfect example for people out there who need, a tool to fight their demons.
Yeah, because I mean, especially because once you get over the physical withdrawals and everything, which can be a nightmare if you're real, like, you know, hope to die alcoholic or some drugs, the withdrawals can be terrible. And once you get through that, then it's just a mental thing. And I think the mental part is the hardest part, really, because it doesn't go away, and yeah, being able to retrain your brain to think that we're going to do these new healthier habits and that's what's good for us versus running back to the sanctuary of drugs and alcohol. Um, it's a hard one to get over, and I think that's where a lot of people stumble.
Mental fortitude, teaching
Yeah, I mean,
yourself. It's
because there's just
hard.
also all this other stuff. You get sober, and then the memories start coming back, or there's all the people that you've wronged, and all the shame and stuff. Like nobody that has a drug or alcohol problem is loving life. It's all covering up some kind of shame or trauma or something. They're hiding from something and they're masking it, a crutch. I don't, like you were
Yeah.
saying, you go to these parties, I don't belong here kind of a thing. So then you're trying to cover
Yeah.
it up with booze so you can, it's all just, it's it. When you stop having that crutch, that's all there and you got to deal with it. And that
That's why they
sucks.
say be kind to people because you don't know what kind of struggles they're going through in their head.
Totally. I mean, every time that I've had any kind of, especially employees that are struggling with drugs or alcohol, and it's this industry, it's common, right? The amount of grace that I'll show somebody, like they disappeared for 3 days, no call, no show. Usually I fire somebody for no call, no show. It's like kind of my one golden rule.
Of course.
But then they'll show up and they'll be like, I woke up in a ditch and I was, thinking about dying or something like that. And you're like, all right, well, let's go talk and let's go grab a coffee and we're gonna figure this out. Because I feel like the worst thing, if you really care, the worst thing you can do in that situation is push them away. I mean, eventually you're gonna,
100%.
there's some nuance there. Like I always tell people that, especially when they freshly get sober, you know, if they're only sober like 3 months, I'm like, don't be running out there trying to help your other friends because you don't know how to swim yet. Like they see their friend drowning in the pond, and it's like you could throw them a life preserver, maybe invite them to your meeting or do whatever, but don't get super involved because then you're both going to drown. It's kind of,
It's
it's
just like the
hard.
airplane, right? It's like the airplane, right? The plane's going down. Please put your mask on yourself first so then you can help others.
Yeah. And exactly. If you haven't figured out fully how to help yourself, how are you going to help others? And then you're just going to,
You're
you're
both
gonna
going to
end up
spiral.
with them. They're gonna talk you into it, you know?
Yep. Well, we're going to lighten it up a little bit because I think it's important that we talked about this because you
Uh-huh.
and I have
Yeah.
been talking about it, but I think, you've gone through a lot, and I think you've come out on the other side and you're doing great, and it's a fucking awesome, and the food you make is delicious, but you being open to talk about this is a lot for a lot of folks who are afraid. So, thank you for
Yeah, of
being
course.
honest.
Mhm.
It's there's not enough of that right now, and I think people are scared to tell the truth and how they feel and how they got there, and it's not always a pleasant journey, and there's you step in a lot of shit on the way sometimes, but it's how you get to the other side and how you deal with it when you're on the other side. So
I mean, that's the other I feel like that's the other half of it is you get to the other side and, like, especially man, just like I was abusing drugs and alcohol from when I was 14 until I was 25. So, like, a lot of the formative years, right? Just being a complete
yeah,
not a good person. And then you get out of it, and then it's like you gotta learn how to be a person. And sometimes you don't become the best person. You know what I mean? Like, just because you stop drinking and doing drugs doesn't mean automatically you're great. Like, if you're not dealing with whatever put you in that position to begin with, the whole hurt people kind of thing, like, it still applies.
yeah,
You know, it's
it's
still,
true.
there's tons of work. You can't just, oh, I quit drinking and everything's great now. Like, no, you still got to learn how to interact with people and be good and all this kind of shit. And yeah, that's the other half of it.
Yeah.
But anyways, best
What
meal,
is
right?
best? What has been your most memorable meal? Memorable doesn't have to be the best, but like that everybody has those moments, right? And I'm sure you have it. You can picture it, where you were sitting, what you were doing, who you were with.
I mean, there's been quite a few of those. I would say so one of like the defining things that I ever ate as a cook. We used to be my dad was real adamant about like catching all the fish that we were allowed to catch in the summer, right? So like you can go get 5 a day or whatever. He'd get fishing licenses for all of us and make sure we were maxing out. So we're gonna fill the freezer. That's like a big Alaska thing, right? Like you gotta fill the freezer, you gotta fill the freezer. Especially, we didn't have a lot of money when I was a kid, so that was, like, a big source of what we were gonna eat all winter. But my parents were terrible cooks, so it was just, like, the most awful, overbaked salmon. I thought salmon was the grossest thing in the world, which is funny now because my career is heavily influenced by salmon, but I thought it was disgusting. I didn't understand why people ate it. And then it was when I was working at the brew house, and they let me come in for dinner one night. I was with my friend, Angelica, and it was like, we came in and we sat down and they sent out this like seared salmon with coconut rice. I wouldn't have ordered it because I thought salmon was gross, but they just sent it out. And it was amazing. It was like, I'd never had salmon like that before. Just like juicy and fresh, this nice sear on it, and it went well with the rice. And it totally clicked in my brain that I was like, whoa, this can actually be good. You know, like that completely transformed how I felt about salmon up to that point. I thought it was so gross.
That's amazing. Isn't that it's so much of food memories or taste memories affect how we cook until there is that aha food moment, right? That changes your perspective.
But yeah,
It's
100%.
like people won't eat liver because they've had it hammered, right? Grainy and gross. They're served
Uh-huh.
by grandma, cooked to shoe leather. You might as well wear it as shoes, right?
Yeah.
And it can be anything. Brussels sprouts, green beans cooked to nothing. All of it can be gross until it's cooked properly, and then the light bulb goes off. It's such a
And you're like, whoa, this is
awesome.
not, yeah.
This is not bone dry, and there's no white stuff coming out of the salmon.
Yeah. It's all white and cakey and God. I feel like I
God,
used to eat it with like 50-50 salmon to ketchup when I was a kid. Just like douse the whole thing, try and cover it up.
that's great.
Yeah, in Alaska with like beautiful salmon. Just my parents just destroyed it. But
Wow.
what are you gonna
Is there anything you won't eat?
do? Not really. I mean, like I'll try anything once. There's a lot of there's a lot indigenous dish up here called stink heads, and it's where they take salmon heads and they will bury them in the ground and then cover them with moss so it can breathe a little bit, and then it ferments for a long time, and then
Okay.
they dig it back up. And even from most of my native friends, they're like, I don't mess with that. And I feel like that's one of those ones where I'm like, I would try it, but man, I've yet to really hear someone sing its praises.
Sounds like that fermented shark that you get like up
Yeah,
in
in like
where is that?
Greenland
Like
or
Iceland.
Iceland or something like that.
Greenland or
Yeah.
Iceland. Yeah, where
It
they ferment the shark, which is oh yeah, I don't know if I could. That sounds a little rough. That sounds rough.
Yeah, and one of those things
Um
like, I'll try it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way.
yeah. If it's presented to you at a meal, of course, you know, you're never going to be rude, but
Right.
that definitely sounds interesting.
They make a thing called Indian cheese, and that's, where they bury the salmon roe, like the whole skeins, and they'll bury that and
Okay.
let it ferment, and then when they dig that back out, it's like, sliceable and spreadable.
That sounds interesting. I could
Yeah,
probably
I've
could
heard
do
that that
that.
one's actually not terrible, that it's actually kinda good. Like, might be still more of an acquired taste, but it's not stink heads. I
There's
mean, a
some
dish with
stuff
the
like
name
my
stink in it.
yeah, it does not. It's like stinky tofu.
Right, yeah.
um, if you could sit and have a meal with anyone, alive or gone, who would it be?
Waylon Jennings.
Very cool. What is your biggest culinary flop? The dish that tanked so bad that you thought was going to be the win?
Man, I'll tell you what, like, one thing that I've always kinda I have a lot of dishes where I'll think about them and I'll conceptualize them, and I'll be thinking about it for weeks, and then I tinker with it, and when I finally get on the menu, like, nobody buys it. That kinda happens to me a lot. It tends to be the dishes we usually call them throwaway dishes where we're, like, just kinda winging shit together at the last minute. Those always seem to be the ones that are more popular, and I don't understand that at all. But I remember one time I put all this effort into this, like, lobster gnocchi dish that I was doing, and I was doing it with, uh, serrano, like, hamon and lobster and gnocchi, and basically, by the time I got done, I'd realized I'd just made chowder. That was, like, one of my I had put so much effort and time and thought into this dish, and when I finally plated it up and got ready to, like, put it on the menu, and I was like, "This is just a bowl of chowder." All it is.
I mean, gnocchi, potato, ham, pork. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, so when I was I mean, it's not necessarily a dish I made, but when I was 15? I think 15, I got a job at this pizza place that did a ton, like, huge volume, right? And so there was one guy that would just stretch the doughs. He would just stretch the pies dough, put it on the peel, slide it down. There was two guys that would top, and then there was these banks of ovens, and one guy worked the oven. And it was my first day, and it's like the evening's about to start, things are ramping up, and the guy that was working the oven was like, "I'm gonna go smoke, I'll be right back," and just disappeared. Gone. And so, one, I'm struggling, I'm burning things, but also if the pizzas were in the lower ovens, they would hang the tickets upside down to signify that it was on the lower
Below.
decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And me being young, I kept flipping the tickets right back up, like, just in this panic mode trying to get through it, and so I kept being like, "Oh, oh," and it was these older guys, they're all like, 19, 20. It's like slamming their fists on the counter, telling me they were gonna kill me, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of you," like, "Don't let this happen again." It was the probably one of the worst services I've ever had. Nightmare.
My God. That's a doozy. I'll take
Yeah,
that one
and then
as
I ended
a
up
hard,
I
hard.
worked there another, like, I think a year and a half, and made my way up to be, like, the lead guy. I was the guy that would just do stretching pizza dough, do that for, like,
Yeah.
6 hours, so, like, I overcame it and, kinda was able to establish myself, but man, yeah, that was a real bad
I would say
service.
that's a hard learning curve.
So bad, and just I mean, to this day, just, like, whenever guys are like, "Hey, I'm gonna step out for a smoke," and I'm like, "You better come back, man." Yeah, fucking rough.
As a chef, I'm always asked the same question. What's your secret to making a restaurant quality dish at home? It's not just the ingredients, it's how you bring them to life, and it starts with the right tools. Heston's ProBond professional clad cookware collection will give you control, consistency, and confidence. It's cookware that makes you want to cook more. Check it out at hestonculinary.com and use my promo code Cook with Chris for 10% off your first order. Do you have a favorite cookbook?
Oh man, Fox's On Vegetables book when it came out. That one
Yeah.
was like for me. Dude, there's quite a bit of them.
It's tough. There's so many great ones. It's just sometimes there's one that everybody always goes back to. That's why I always ask.
I mean, there's all the classics, there's like by hand and all that kind of stuff. But man, I don't think I could pick one if I had to. It's hard too, because it's also sometimes it's like, up in Alaska, there's not a lot of opportunities to, like, it's not down in LA where it's like, oh, I want to go learn how to go make ice cream. And there's like 30 shops you could go get a job at and try and learn. Or I want to learn this or that. I'm going to go work for this chef. So a lot of my stuff has always been self-taught, and that would be the thing where it's like, okay, I want to learn about ice cream, or I want to learn about bread, or I want to do. So then you buy a bunch of cookbooks and you go through this phase of just like reading as many of them as you can and trying all these things. So it's like, I don't think I could ever just pick a single one.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a really good point too, because they're there. They're a resource, right? It's your library. It's like you have now, however many books you have, they're mentors. Everything is a tool for you. And I think that's really key. I mean, shit, I got 3,000 of them in this fucking room. It's a lot.
One of my favorite things is after I get a line cook or prep cook or anyone that once they start kind of getting on their feet and they're operating independently, I love to hand them a cookbook and I'm like, you got to pick something out of here, and it's usually just to start trying to get them interested if they're not already like buying their own cookbooks and stuff, but just hand them something and be like, pick something out of here and we're going to make it, whether it's for family meal or we're running a special or something, just so I can also see what interests them.
Yeah.
But
that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely also I love cookbooks for new techniques more so than dishes a lot, just seeing how somebody's preparing a stock differently or a sauce or what hydration they're using on a certain bread. It's like, I kind of love cookbooks a lot more for that than anything else. Just new techniques.
Yeah. Resource tool. Consistent. You could compare them. That's the thing. Especially when you have a lot on the same subject, you can go back and compare different techniques. Like you said, hydration, what's your hydration for this, hydration for that, whether it's, it just gives you more options in the comparability. What is your must-have kitchen tool?
Must-have kitchen tool? Sharpie?
Yeah, perfect. What advice? One piece of advice you'd give to a young cook?
Just like learn as much as you can, especially when it comes to the business side of things. I think we all tend to focus on the craft a ton, especially when we're younger, and the business side of things goes by the wayside. But learning the business side is what's going to enable you to pay for the art later.
Very true. Very true. Read your reviews or do not read your reviews?
I do not. Not one bit. I don't. I mean, if it's like a columnist comes by and reviews the restaurant or something like that, like, sure, of course I'm going to read. But just the rank and file, Yelp and TripAdvisor and all that, I don't read that. Mostly because a lot of people love to, like, they get a bad review on Yelp and like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about, but then they get a good review on Yelp and they're like, oh, do you see what this person said? Like, you got to listen to both. Either the people on Yelp don't know what they're talking about or they do. But I kind of have a thing where it's like, if one person complains about something, that's just their opinion. But if multiple people complain, then I'll look into it. And that tends to be what Yelp and TripAdvisor is just one person's opinion of the steak was too salty. Well, I sold 20 steaks that night and you're the only one saying that. So that might just be you,
A personal preference, right? Personal preference. Yeah. So like you get 10 comments saying food was salty, then you look at it. You
Yeah.
get one.
Yeah,
And
that's
if the
just
steak was overcooked, why didn't you say something when you were there?
and that's the
We could
that's
have
the other thing. Yeah,
corrected
like,
it.
why didn't you say something while you're there? And then also just, like, we're human.
We we
I fuck
want you
shit
to
up.
leave happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, your steak was overcooked. I'm glad you cook you another one, but I'm not gonna say I never overcook a steak, even now. Like, we all make mistakes. It
We
just
all make
happens,
Yep.
you know?
Do you have a favorite food city? Someplace you want to go travel or you have been that you really were totally excited about food-wise?
I mean, like, internationally, obviously, I love Rome. I love eating in Rome. That's one of my whenever I get, like, stressed out or I am just kinda sick of everything, I constantly start looking at tickets to Rome. I gotta get out of here. Um, but, here in the States, I love Portland. Houston's got a lot of cool stuff going on. LA's got a lot of fun food if you have a car and don't mind sitting in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of driving.
Yeah, it's a lot of driving.
Do you have one question when you're hiring a cook that you ask all the time? Is there one consistent question you always ask during your interview process?
Dude, I mean, with how hard things have become for hiring, I, like, almost don't even "What's your availability, and when would you like to start?" Those are pretty much the questions. But I also I like to hire people that don't have a lot of background. I like promoting dishwashers. I like promoting prep cooks. I like people that are like, "Oh, I've never worked in a restaurant before, but I really wanna work here." You know? I don't, also being the nature of where we are, there's not a lot of the labor market's not great as far as cooks are. So it tends to be a lot of just hiring people regardless of their abilities. So I don't the whole interview process doesn't really exist for us. It's do you want to be here? And if you want to be here, then like great, let's get it going.
What makes you happy as a chef?
Nowadays, I get a lot of joy from seeing my cooks and staff have pride in what they're doing. Like when I see them excited about the bread they made or excited about this and or that they've created, that makes me really happy. Especially as we were just talking about now just a second ago, like where I'm hiring people that maybe never cooked before or my pasta lady, her restaurant experience before was working at Subway. And she got sober not too long ago and started really getting into making pasta. So now she's making all sorts of beautiful stuff. And you can see this pride that she has. And then people in town love what she's making. So then it's like, not only did she have a chance to get sober and experience a new life, but she fell into something that she's actually good at that people are giving her praise for. And like, that's the thing that I really enjoy now about having restaurants is just seeing my staff feel pride in what they're doing and being proud and getting recognition for it.
That's awesome. All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee,
Pancakes, waffles,
pancakes,
oatmeal, yogurt,
yogurt,
bacon, sausage,
bacon,
chicken, duck,
chicken,
beef or pork,
pork.
quail or squab, hot dog, hamburger,
Man. Corn dogs, dude. Have you not ever
ketchup,
seen any of our
mustard.
corn dog scene? We'll throw these
No.
like crazy corn dog parties, dude. Like 400 people will come. This summer we made a 10-foot paper mache corn dog in my driveway. And then at the end of the corn dog party, we tossed it on fire and dude, it got so out of control. Like the flames were like 20 feet up in the air. It was insane.
I gotta see that,
Yeah,
dude. That's amazing.
I'll send you the video. It was nuts. I was like,
That's
oh shit, this
amazing.
is not good. But yeah, corn dogs all the way.
Corn dogs. Okay, ketchup or mustard?
Mustard,
French fries, onion rings,
French fries,
taco burrito,
tacos,
pasta noodles,
pasta,
ravioli dumplings,
ravioli,
raw oysters, raw clams,
oysters,
lobster or crab,
crab, Dundee
sea urchin,
specifically,
caviar, Dungy specifically, okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sea urchin or caviar?
Yeah.
Urchin, if it's good.
Meatballs or sausage?
Meatballs.
Favorite pizza style?
Neapolitan?
Butter or olive oil?
Butter.
Duck fat, pork fat?
Just melt it down or in what capacity?
To cook with, to cook with.
To cook with? Oh, duck fat.
Yeah. Favorite acid to cook with?
Man, I love me acids. Probably just lemon juice if it's just a straight all-purpose fresh lemon for sure.
Dessert or cheese?
Dessert.
Chocolate or fruit?
Chocolate.
Honey, maple syrup.
Honey.
Favorite candy?
Oh, peanut M&Ms. Frozen.
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 What's your
Keep 'em in the
secret late
freezer.
night? I'm allergic to peanuts. I'm bummed about that, but I'm afraid I'd crack a tooth.
Yeah, that's so good.
What is your secret late night snack? You know, the one that you squirrel and hide out
Dude.
that you're not supposed to have. Yeah.
It used to be Oreos, and I used to hide them in my bookshelf so that my son wouldn't find them because he wouldn't go
I
on
love
book.
that.
So I would just like put it where a book would go, and he wouldn't know where it was because he'd find all my little candy stashes all the time that I'd hide from him.
Wow.
Yeah, Oreos. That's like I don't even keep them in the house anymore. A while back, the doctors told me I had to stop eating so much carbs and sugar. I was like, that's all I eat. And
Okay.
they're like, we could tell. I'm like, okay.
Guilty pleasure.
Honestly, my biggest guilty pleasure that's actually like bad for me is anytime I'm over in Europe, European cigarettes.
Oof.
Like I don't like the ones
What are
here
you
in the States.
smoking,
I find them
Gauloise?
just like I think they're so repulsive, so gross. But there's something about like I don't know if they're lighter over there or what it is, but like I'm over in Italy, I'm getting a pack of cigarettes, I'm having some coffee. That's like my big so bad, shouldn't be doing it. But
Shouldn't be
I almost
doing it.
have to.
What would be your last meal?
And probably just some good ice cream, dude.
I love that.
Just something
So if
really
people
simple.
want to simple and delicious. If people want to find you on Instagram, what's the best way for them to find you, Beau?
It's just at Beau Schooler.
And the restaurant is
And
what?
the restaurant is at Juno Lupo.
So folks, you have to go. You know you're going to go visit Alaska at some point, whether you're going to sit on a cruise ship to get there, whether you're going to go ski the Big Pow. You got to make the effort to go visit Beau because what he and his team are doing is special. It's worth the trip. Not many people run restaurants, work on commercial fishing boats at the same time, source direct. You're going to want to be there. So,
Yeah.
both, thank you for sharing your story. And I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking
Yeah,
time.
thanks for having me on.
Happy to. And we got to cook again together soon, man. I would like that. I really would.
Yeah, you should come up this summer, man.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
We can figure something out for sure.
We'll plan on it. We'll hit up ASMR and see if they want us to do a
They
big
probably
dinner,
would.
right?
Yeah. That'd
be fun.
Yeah. They'll definitely sponsor
All right.
something.
You hear that, Alaskan Seafood Council? We're going to do a dinner. You got to help us out. We're going to leave that in there too.
There you go. Leah, come on.
Yep. Let's get on this back. I'll do all the stuff that nobody wants to buy, like you had me do last time.
What did they try and get you to? Was it pollock? Sea cucumber?
No, dude, I was like cooking shirako. I make sea cucumber batarga, like katsubushi out of it. So like I'll rehydrate it, cold smoke it multiple times, slow dry it, and then katsubushi it or make batarga. Yeah, that one's really fun. I tinkered around with mentaiko and all the different things that people were afraid to use.
Yeah, whenever they always have that. They're like, oh, we want you to cook in an event. And you're like, sure, it sounds great. And then like, here's this obscure thing that we're trying to get these markets to buy. And you're like, okay. Cool.
I mean, it would be great if they were like, here, do you want to cook kokocha? So I'll be like, yeah, I'll cook kokochas, but they know they're already sold. They can sell those anywhere.
Yeah, they don't.
Right? It's like,
you're not doing king salmon or nothing. Nope.
Nope. But that's okay. I actually enjoy that adventure part of it. You know, finding really making people embrace the things they don't know. They sent me a whole massive halibut. Thing was huge. And I roasted it in the cajachina. I did a whole roasted halibut a la cajachina,
Awesome.
which was
Yeah,
fucking delicious.
I bet.
That's cool. That was fun.
Yeah,
Um, Skin got all crispy, flipped it over, crisped the skin on the other side.
that's awesome.
There's,
Love that.
yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff to do. So, well,
Yeah, we do
Chef
this.
Beau, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it. You do what?
I was gonna say, like, we do this off-cut salmon dish where it's like basically everything but the fillet. So if you come in and order it, it's like the collar, head, belly, tail, roe, skin, everything but what people normally eat. And it is
I love
crazy.
that.
Like, we'll put it on the menu. We'll have like 8 that night. I mean, there's only so many parts you get off a fish. Um,
Yeah.
we'll put it on the menu and it'll be gone in like the first turn. People go nuts for it. It makes me so happy
That
to
kind of,
see.
it's really fun when you can get people to really open up that thought process. Like when herring season started running here, we would do a dish called man, woman, and child. So we would take the roe, the milt, right? And then serve it
Mhm.
with a whole fish. So man, woman, child. And everybody was like, you are so wrong. That is so twisted. But they would get it. It would be like Meunier sauce or like brown butter and capers and Meyer lemon and just a really simple, but make people embrace the things, right, that they're afraid of, like bloater paste, smoking sprats and using all the guts and making a paste out of it on toast.
Mhm.
Those techniques, I think, really people get excited about because they understand that there's a uniqueness to it, right? And once they get a taste for it once, they'll always come back.
Yeah, they're gonna keep coming for it. Yep. Have you ever
They're
seen
going to
the
keep
herring
coming
roe
for
they
it.
do up here? Like on the spruce branches? Call it native
No,
pop rocks. So
no.
the indigenous folks here they'll put hemlock or spruce branches out in the water, and then when the herring throw their eggs out or whatever, they get caught on that, and then they just pull these huge wood branches out of the water just laden with these eggs, and then you get them, and you steam them right on the branch and everything, and they crunch when you eat them.
Whoa, that sounds incredible.
They're amazing, but there's no it's like subsistence, you gotta be native. There's no, like, commercial market for it, so it's like this real special treat,
Of course.
and
Yeah,
when it
that
happens,
makes
it's
sense.
almost like the little underground black market economy pops up in Juneau every time that it's herring roe season. Like, all the time people are like, "I'll trade you a gallon bag of herring roe for 5 haircuts," like at the barbershop or whatever. It's awesome. One of my
I
faves.
love that kind of stuff. That's
That's so
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
Well, Chef, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I look forward to coming and visiting you, and I want everybody to come. When you get your chance, folks, and you're heading to Alaska, make sure to go to Juneau and visit Chef Beau. It will be a delicious experience,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
I'll be there.
Thanks for listening to How the Sausage is Made. If you've liked what you've heard today, please make sure to like and subscribe, and don't be afraid to tell your friends about it.